good evening. You've joined us right here on the India Development Debate. I'm Taneia Bhardwaj and we're beaming to you live from our Mumbai studios. With the aim of returning to power, the BJP today released its election manifesto that included promises like extending the Prime Minister's Kisan coverage, 1 lakh interest-free loans, creating 75 new medical colleges, to accidental insurance for traders registered under GST. The manifesto is a throwback, if you like, to the BJP election manifesto of 2014, as it repeats the allure of Ram Mandir construction, the return of Kashmir Pandits to the valley, and annulling of Article 370 that gives special status to J&K. Now, the press conference to release the manifesto spoke more about the achievements of the past 5 years rather than ideas for the next 5. Is the BJP manifesto more about consolidating then the party's core voter base? Is the BJP manifesto more practical than the Congress's, which included a radical promise of minimum income guarantee? In the end, do manifestos really matter? These are just some of the questions we're going to discuss today with our panelists. So we've got a mix of politicians and commentators here on the India Development Debate. But before we go to them, first, let's listen in to the top brass of the BJP explaining really the rationale of the manifesto.
राष्ट्रवाद ये हमारी प्रेरणा है, अंत्योदय ये हमारा दर्शन है और सुशासन ये हमारा मंत्र है। बुनियादी चीजों को, बुनियादी जरूरियातों को लोगों तक पहुंचाने में जमीनी स्तर पर भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मोदी सरकार को सफलता मिली है और 2014 से 2019 तक ये जो यात्रा चली है, देश का जिस प्रकार से चहुमुखी विकास हुआ है, देश की आशा अब अपेक्षा में बदल चुकी है।
जब तक आतंकवाद समाप्त नहीं होगा तब तक हमारी यह जीरो टॉलरेंस की पॉलिसी आतंकवाद के प्रति रहेगी। यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड, इसके प्रति, इसको लागू करने के प्रति हमारी प्रतिबद्धता थी, है, इस काम को करेंगे। भारत में होने वाले इनफिल्ट्रेशन, अवैध घुसपैठ को रोकने के लिए जितनी भी सख्ती करनी होगी हम वो सख्ती करेंगे, लेकिन घुसपैठ को पूरी तरह से रोकेंगे।
This is the first 5 years that India was globally the fastest growing economy in the world. Our fiscal prudence since 1947 has been the best ever for a 5-year government.
Let me ask the Congress party in this context, what is their position on Ram Mandir? If they think we have to give an apology, what is it that they have done for the Ram Mandir's promotion? Have they built the Ram Mandir? If anything, they've constantly kept the pot boiling without even addressing it. So, instead of asking us for an apology, I think the Congress party should apologize to this country for commenting on a party's manifesto without even reading.
The world will have to come and do business with India, because without India, there is no economic opportunity anywhere in the world.
A lot of people also say that the BJP manifesto has been silent on jobs. How would you take that criticism?
It has not been silent. In fact, it is an enabler of work and jobs. After all, when you make 100 lakh crore rupee investment in infrastructure, out of that 25 lakhs is going to go in rural and agricultural infrastructure. It obviously gives crores of people working opportunity.
Well, time then to introduce to you our panel for the evening. Joining in this leg of the India Development Debate from the BJP, we've got Gopal Krishna Agarwal. From the Congress Party, Aman Panwar is here with us. Consulting editor E.T. Now Swaminathan Iyer joins us, and so does R. Jagannathan, editorial director at the Swarajya magazine. Gentlemen, good evening to you and thank you so much for taking the time out. I'd first like to begin by asking Swami on what he's made of what, Swami, the Prime Minister likes to dub a vision document. Is it a manifesto or reading more like a vision document, would you say?
Well, you can call it a vision or a manifesto, that's a semantics. I think the key thing is that the last manifesto, 5 years ago of the BJP, it was a development manifesto, and it went on minimum government, maximum governance. That particular approach is abandoned. This is a straightforward Hindu nationalist manifesto. The emphasis is on, we are anti-terrorism, we are going to beef up our security forces, we are going to make sure that Pakistan does not get the better of us. On the other hand, there is this emphasis on the Ram Mandir, on Sabarimala, Uniform Civil Code, various of those things. So, this is like saying minimum secularism, maximum nationalism, instead of minimum government, maximum governance. I think that is the big shift if you want to sum it up. There are, of course, various economic things in it, like the doubling of farm income or housing for all. Many of these statements have been made before. They are not new. On the economic side, I don't see anything big new. It's a re-emphasis of we are a Hindu nationalist party and we want a Hindu nationalist India.
Swami, just for the Congress, the one big idea in their manifesto was, say, the minimum income guarantee scheme, Nyay, and it really became the sticking point, the talking point. What do you see as that one big theme in the BJP's manifesto to counter maybe the Nyay even?
No, the BJP clearly wants to get away. The BJP does not want to discuss the Congress's program, or even, it has its own PM Kisan program, which it had already come out with. But it says that I want to emphasize nationalism. I want to emphasize that we are anti-terror, we are pro-security, we will save the nation. They want to change the entire dialogue from the question of minimum income to the question of Hindu nationalism. That is the aim of this manifesto.
Jaggi, let's, sort of dive right into what then the criticism is, considering that this is a government that's come under a fair amount of fire for the joblessness that we're seeing in the country. Why is this manifesto silent on that big red on its report card? Firstly, do you agree with me that it's silent? Because, in 2014, the promise was that 2 lakh crore jobs will be added every year. This time, they're playing safe and they're not committing to any number.
Yeah, you read it right. I think the basic point is that the BJP is learning from the mistakes of promising too much in 2014. They promised a broad idea called Achhe Din. Then they promised very specific things in terms of jobs and all that. I think its performance in the last 5 years have made it clear that you can make a lot of effort in a lot of areas, but the net results may not always be what you promise in the manifesto. So this time what they are saying is that we are promising good effort, we are promising this kind of investment in farms, and this much investment in infrastructure, and this much in skill building and various other things, apart from nationalism and other things and that sort of thing. So what they are trying to do this time is that our 5 years is what we are planning to do some more of that. We want to make sure we are on the right track. We don't want to promise specific things, but we promise the best effort, the most sincere effort, so that nothing will be held against us if specific numbers don't work out. So they believe that if we do the right things, you will get the right results, and we will not promise the results up front, we will promise the effort. So that's the basic fundamental shift they have made from the last manifesto in this one. And to add to what Swami said, I think there is a very strong emphasis on the farm side, because if you see that Kisan Samman Nidhi has actually been now extended to all farmers. Earlier it was only up to farmers that are up to 2 hectares of land. So now we are now moving very close to at least one segment of the economy. You're moving towards a universal basic income support. That means the entire farming community, not 85% or whatever, you are actually building blocks for at least a universal system in a part of the economy, unlike the Congress scheme, which is about finding 20% of the poorest, whether it's rural or urban or whatever, which is going to be problematic. Here there will be no problem identifying 100% of farmers to be given 6,000 a year, and which can actually be increased steadily over the next 5 years, just as the Congress has promised with its Nyay scheme. So that's an interesting thing, and I think that's where they are heading. They are saying 12 crore have benefited, it will move up to 15 crore farmers, and that number can be doubled or tripled in the next 5 years. So farmers' income will go. That's a very important change.
Yeah, excellent. In fact, Jaggi, we will come back to that point, and I will take that up with you a little later on in the show, but let's just get opening comments. Gopal Krishna Agrawal, do you agree with what Jaggi is saying, that somewhere the BJP is also sort of learning from its mistakes of the past? Is that why your manifesto remains vague on what you're going to do to generate jobs, which, as I said, is a big red on your government's report card? You said that you will expand support to the 22 major champion sectors identified as the main drivers of the Indian economy, but that's pretty much all the details we have.
Tanya, I would like to mention here three things that those are very important to understand the whole Sankalpat 2019. In the introductory letter which the Prime Minister has read, he has categorically said what we have done over the past 5 years. That's very important, because in the last 5 years we had done everything as a targeted, and performance metrics was there for people to see, whether it is 34 crore Jandan account, 6 crore Ujjwala connection, gas connection, 9 crore toilets, 1.5 crore low cost housing, 37 kilometers of national highway, 100 airports, then 131 kilometers of rural roads. Then there is a issue of macroeconomic parameters from fragile 5 to 6 largest economy, inflation down. These are, Prime Minister said that we have created a strong base on which we can build a very strong nation, and in this next 5 years we are going to get the true benefit of the infrastructure or ecosystem which we have created. There is a concerted effort by our government that we have moved from 142 level of ranking in ease of doing business to this 77, and the level of corruption we have done so many structural changes with regard to digital transactions, GST, doing away, deregistering the shell companies, taking strong actions on fugitive offenders, IBC, NCLT, then Benami Property Act. All these cumulatively have created a very good ecosystem of economic growth, transparent ecosystem.
Gopal, if I can just interject you there. Gopal, just a minute. My question was about jobs. If you could please, answer that question for us.
Tanya, 30 more seconds.
Yes, please.
30 more.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tanya, 30 more seconds. The issue is from there, now we are talking that we will achieve a doubling of farmers' income by 2022. There is 100 crore investment into infrastructure and other sectors, 25 lakh crores in the agriculture sector, 50 lakh loan, collateral free loan. There is a commission on this traders and other issues. So now we will have houses to everybody. So our economy is definitely poised to a very quantum jump, and we have created a very strong target of reaching third largest economy in the world. That's a clear-cut target, and with zero tolerance for terrorist and anti-separatist activities. So there is a clear-cut target that we have set before us: doubling of farmers' income, housing to everybody, yes, infrastructure, and this agriculture sector growth. I think from 100 to 200, you see the 75 steps that we have identified. It talks about everything in the infrastructure from 100 to 200.
Sure. Okay, Gopal. Gopal, I'm going to move to Aman Panwar now. He has his hand up as well. Aman, your party has criticized the BJP manifesto. You've called it a balloon of lies. Now, the fact is that, questions have also been raised on how the Congress will raise resources for some of the schemes that you've proposed. In contrast, the BJP, at least at the outset, has said that, look, we're only going to make promises that are achievable. So how do you counter that criticism?
See, if the BJP spokesperson is done parroting the list that has been given to him by Amit Shah, let's talk about real numbers. The real numbers as given by the NSSO, the government's own survey agency, says that India lost 4.70 crore jobs in the last 5 years. Whereas what did the Modi government promise in 2014? They said that we will give 2 crore jobs per year. That would have been 10 crore jobs by the end of 5 years. Today, nobody in the press conference during the manifesto release in the BJP took a single question from the press, from you guys. Nobody interacted, nobody cared to even, answer your questions. They just released the manifesto, which should actually be called the Maafinama. Why Maafinama? Because the 5 years back when they released a similar document, they haven't acted upon anything. Jobs they did not act, They are now talking about doubling the farmers' income. Today, the growth rate in the agriculture sector is 2.8%, the lowest in India. To double the farmers' income at this growth rate, India will take 28 years. And they talk about housing for all. They only constructed 3.53 lakh housing dwelling units. This is the reply given by them in Lok Sabha, and it will take them another 28 years to construct housing, 5 crore housing, which they talk about in their manifesto today, and they say they will construct it by 2022. Now you go to Article 370 that was promised in 2014. Again, they are saying the same thing. If you talk about the Namami Gange project, there is no mention. 80% of the budget that was to be used to clean the Ganga river is lying unspent, and the Supreme Court made a very scathing remark where it said that it will take 100 years at this speed to clean the Ganga river under the Modi government. So these are the aspirations of the population of this country, the aspirations of the youth, the farmers. They have all gone down the drain. Today, nothing new has been proposed in this Maafinama that they released. Why are they not talking about numbers this time? Why are they not talking about that? How national security has gone down the drain under the Modi government? The infiltration and ceasefire violation has increased by 500%. They talk about
Ram Mandir. I'm going to stop you there. Swami, my question to you, Swami. You know, the manifesto, as you heard the Congress spokesperson say very vociferously, is being criticized for sort of being short on original thinking. You know, some are saying, you know, it's nothing but a Maafinama. Some are calling it a last-minute cut, copy, paste. Do you think that being in power, the incumbent is generally more prone to sort of tom-tom about their achievements than promising something new to voters? Does that sort of thinking make sense?
I would say that promising new, in some sense, has already been taking place. The PM Kisan scheme, for instance, was announced in the budget. Now, you can't keep having new announcements of that kind of order every 2-3 months. So, you know, the Congress has tried to make the new idea as part of the manifesto. The BJP brought it out in the budget. So you do get these differences in variation. I would also say that the Congress not having any performance to fall back on to boast about has been focusing on the new idea because they can't talk about performance. Whereas the BJP wants to talk a little more about performance because it has been in power and it believes it has achieved some things. It certainly has not achieved any great things on employment. It certainly hasn't put 15 lakhs in everybody's bank account. But yes, it has achieved a certain number of things. So I said the BJP wants to be seen that I have done all this and let me talk about what I've done. Whereas Congress wants to talk about what it hopes to do if it comes to power. I think that is the main reason why the Congress has focused on big ideas in the manifesto and the BJP has not.
Okay. Jaggi, let's go back to the point you were making about, you know, alleviating farm stress. Now, the Congress has vowed to extend a farm loan waiver to all states. Farmer defaults will be a civil offence, not a criminal one. The BJP, on the other hand, is going to offer interest-free farm loans, and there's also an ambitious 25,000 lakh crore that will be spent in the next 5 years on rural development. And of course, you know, some of the other points that you alluded to. Of the two, which ones do you think will go a long way in really, you know, nipping the problem, as it were?
Look, neither plans actually go far enough because the most important thing farmers need is a national market and an international market to sell their produce in. If you are going to, whenever prices rise, you are going to block them from exporting, and whenever they fall, you are suddenly going to you know, stop them from, you know, you are going to do something or the other all the time to block the farmer from getting the right price for his produce. So the most important thing neither party seems to be promising, that is to free up farm prices. But if you leave this part aside, I would say the BJP has a slightly better plan for the simple reason that it is not talking farm loan waivers, whereas the Congress keeps talking about it. And in fact, Rahul Gandhi even went on record saying that I will not allow the PM to sleep till he allows a national farm waiver, as though all states doing it is not enough. So in fact, the BJP scheme of giving an interest-free loan, provided there will be no default and in repayment, is actually a better approach, because you are giving an interest subvention, 100% subvention, with the promise that you will return the money, so that you are actually moving away from the culture of waivers. So that is, if it really is able to implement it. How it's going to implement it, I don't know, but they need to do. The second point, which I repeat earlier, is extension of the farm subsidy scheme is actually more workable in the BJP thing. Next thing they can do is offer another 6,000 and say we will now give 100% of farmers this 6,000 bucks, and we will give another 6,000 and remove the fertilizer subsidy, because now this subsidy is available in cash to everybody. So it gives the scope for you to reduce subsidies on some front, whereas the Congress scheme is only about giving and no adjustment with existing subsidies. So you're going to end up in a fiscal mess with the Congress scheme, whereas the BJP tries to move a little away from a mess, and it's only calibrating its response to a more sensible approach.
Aman, I saw your hand up. I will come to you, but before that, I have a question for Gopal. Gopal, in 2014, doubling farm income was your party's big promise. 4 years on, would you concede that 2022 is looking like a pipe dream?
No, Tanya, I'm very sure Prime Minister has said, and he has fulfilled every of his promise. He said in the speech also and in the introduction letter also that the credibility of the leaders is the most important thing that he wants to convey to the people. What I promise, I deliver. And that is, he has reiterated, we have reiterated, our party, government, that by 2022, we will double the farmers' income. And farmers' income can be doubled in so many roadways that we have been talking. If we move lot of population from the agriculture sector to other employment avenues of self-employment, for cottage industries, for animal husbandry, through other issues of small one district, one product, etc. So therefore, less number of people will be dependent, and they can share the income among lesser number of people. That is also a form of increasing, doubling of their income. We are creating lower cost to the farm sector through MSP. Swaminathan, it was Mr. Swaminathan committee's report came in 2016. When you are talking, we are talking of performance on every sector, every field, and still in the promise also we are talking, which is achievable by every standards. So the Congress is just promising a moon and not delivering nothing. Mr. Iyer said that we have a performance of 5 years to showcase. Definitely, I agree. But Congress also had a performance period of 50 years or 60 years, what they did. And now they are again in 57, they promised removal of poverty, 71 they promised, now 84 they promised, and again Mr. Rahul Gandhi is promising that I will eradicate poverty. And how they want to eradicate?
Yeah, Aman's
just
counter
giving
to
a
that.
dole out. By that you cannot remove
Yes.
poverty, and that too.
Okay, Gopal,
Yes.
let's hear
So
Aman's.
if you want to remove poverty,
Yeah.
you need to come out with a roadmap.
Yes.
And we have
Let me tell
economic
Gopal.
Okay,
roadmap
okay,
to-
Aman,
Let
1
me
minute.
tell
Okay, Gopal, just 1 minute.
that-
Aman, please, 1 minute. Just respond to that. The BJP saying that the farm stress is a legacy issue. They can't be solely blamed for it. You had 60 years. You couldn't do anything about it. There is no quick fix. So the problem really can't be solved as easily. We should cut them some slack.
Let me tell you that in 2012, the Manmohan Singh government was globally and officially recognized for uplifting 14 crore Indians from the poverty line, and they were brought above the poverty line. Now today, what has happened after the Modi government has kicked in, 3.5 lakh crore rupees of corporate debts of people, of crony capitalists, a few corporates who were close to the Prime Minister, that debt has been waived off. today the Congress party says that on one hand, where the BJP is diverting public money to help a few crony capitalists who are close to the Prime Minister and taking their help to blow up their election campaign, to get publicity money from them, from getting campaign money, we are talking about diverting this money to the poor farmer of India. What is wrong with that? What has happened after demonetization? Why did the Prime Minister not talk about demonetization today during the manifesto release? It was much tom-tommed about when it was done. Why did the Prime Minister not talk about GST? Because both these economic blunders by the BJP has killed the Indian economy. What we want to do today is that the people who are sitting unemployed, the youth of the country, there 35% of the people of this country which are between the age of 18 to 30 are unemployed under the Modi government. These are the government statistics. They have to be given some kind of assistance by the government so that they can start on with their own things. And what is the Modi government doing? They are diverting that money to a few crony capitalists like Vijay Mallya, Lalit Modi, Nirav Modi, and who have run away from the country at the behest of the finance minister and Mr. Modi. So we are talking about diverting that money to the actual beneficiaries, the people who are in actual need of this money. And this, by doing this, we had set an example back between 2004 and 2011 when we uplifted 14 crore people from the poverty line, and they were brought in the mainstream.
Okay,
so what is wrong with that?
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt. We have to take a quick commercial break here at this point in the India development debate. Let's take that and then we'll of course reconvene for that conversation. Stay with us. Back on the India development debate, and we're of course continuing to focus on the BJP's manifesto today. Let's take it across then to our panel, and Swami, to you then. The Prime Minister says that nationalism is the inspiration behind this manifesto, and it's very clear that this document sort of, feeds well into the BJP's larger nationalism narrative of a new India, something that you again alluded to, which has zero tolerance for terrorism. The question that I'm asking is, do you believe that this is going to help the BJP win votes?
Without doubt. This is the emphasis. Last time they tried to emphasize economic performance, and on that I'm afraid they have not been able to deliver. And they want to move away from that particular subject. They do not want to be reminded of that. I think they're going to take advantage of Pulwama, of the Balakot bombing, that, the Congress party didn't have the guts to strike back. We had the guts. We did the surgical strikes after Uri, after Pulwama. We did the bombing of Balakot. We are the big, powerful, strong, courageous party that can be relied on to provide security for India. I think they are very much attempting to emphasize that and get away from the economic agenda at this particular point of time. I believe that, even if they can just gain 2 or 3% of the popular vote in states like Uttar Pradesh, that can make a difference of 20, 30 seats perhaps in parliament. I think that is what they are striving for. So the aim is very much to focus on saying, we are the party of security, we are the party that will put down terrorism, we are the party that will put down nationalism. Vote for us, we will make India a strong nationalist country. Yes.
Jaggi, would you agree? There's a contrast between the BJP and the Congress when it comes to national security. One wants to scrap 370, the other wants to review AFSPA. Considering the present mood of the nation, which one do you think resonates more with the voter?
Oh, very clearly the nationalism card will work, for the simple reason that, in fact, even globally, actually right-wing parties tend to stress nationalism, law and order, anti-terrorism, those kind of things. So the BJP is actually living up to the same kind of image. It's doing that. I mean, only thing what is missing is that since the last 5 years have been difficult years in terms of 2 droughts followed by 2 disruptions, then followed by 2 more years of say average monsoon. So the recovery has been slow and the global environment hasn't helped. So the BJP does not have very clear results to show on certain economic fronts, though I would say it has taken many of the key reforms that will help you in future. And even on the cronyism and a lot of it has come down, but the results are not very visible. So the BJP has to go back to more emotive cards like nationalism and a certain amount of mild faith-based. For example, they have brought up Sabarimala apart from Ram Mandir. They have also this time introduced the Sabarimala into their manifesto, which means that they are going to have a legislation where the courts and legislatures don't mess up with faith issues. So I think that's another promise that they've brought in, and I think it's probably this is what happens in the US, where they have this restoration of religious freedom acts, which does not allow the state to mess up with religion. So the BJP has brought that thing. Then they've also brought their commitment to the Citizenship Amendment Bill, where it's about accepting minorities from the neighboring countries, but not others. So those subtle aspects have been brought in as emotive issues, and BJP is hoping that that will help it get that 2 to 3% additional vote for a win. That's what they're doing.
Gopal, from the promise to scrapping Article 370 to your commitment to the Ram Mandir, now one could argue that these are also promises that you made in 2014, and since you haven't really delivered on those, what's giving you the comfort that voters are going to believe you this time?
Tanya, the issue is that our commitment to zero tolerance is an important issue that we want to convey. Nationalism, strong nationalism is a core theme of our whole ideology. Second thing is that we are talking about 370, we are talking about Ram Temple, we are talking of uniform civil code. These are our core issues that we wanted to implement, but due to certain limitations in the parliamentary democracy, we have not been able to deliver on that. But our commitment stands, and by we expect by 2020, we will have a majority even in Rajya Sabha, then these things will be definitely implemented. That's our commitment, that has been said. On one thing I want to tell you is that other panelists were saying that at one point of time they are saying that our manifesto smacks of about more of a realism and a practical approach and a doable approach. At one point of time they are talking like, and then they are saying that some of these issues will not be deliverable. So I think they cannot go together. We have been very fair in our past performance. We had set up a very high target and most of the targets had been achieved. We at starting time talked about 7.4 crore bank account, but ultimately we ended up opening 34 crore bank accounts, and 55% of the global bank accounts opened in last year belong to India. And World Bank, everybody has applauded our financial inclusion process. And one more point I would like to tell you is the opposition is continuously, particularly Congress, is harping on falsehood. Just now their spokesperson said that we have waived 3.5 lakh crores of corporate loan. I am on a bank board, I am a chartered accountant. I challenge him that tell me one corporate account that we have waived off, that we have written off. They are just harping on falsehood and just misleading people everywhere. Now tell us one account
you have given in the parliament, sir.
Waived off the loan.
Okay, Gopal,
let's telling, Gopal, he is also telling that Vijay Mallya, Mehul Choksi and Neerav Modi, we have given them loan. It is the UPA which has given them the loan. We are recovering that
Gopal,
money.
let's ask Aman that. Aman, okay, please, gentlemen. Aman, you can respond to what Gopal is saying, but please, I'd like to also ask a question here about, what we were talking about, hyper-nationalism. You had the finance minister, Mr. Jaitley, saying that the Congress's manifesto, it seemed like was conceptualized by the Tukde gang. At a time when hyper-nationalism really seems to be the flavor of the season, don't you think a more muscular policy, sort of hard talk against terrorism, would have been a better approach for your party? Please respond to that.
See, the Congress party believes in writing that in the manifesto, which it actually will deliver. Now, they are writing about 370 and the panelist here said that we have been very fair in our approach. Let me tell you about their approach. they had entered an alliance with Mehbooba Mufti, whose party said that we will never let 370 be abolished in Jammu and Kashmir, and they were alliance partners with Mehbooba Mufti. And they talk about AFSPA, they had themselves removed AFSPA from Arunachal Pradesh. What we have said about AFSPA is that there has to be a new approach towards it so that it is not misused. What the BJP has done, that it has already removed AFSPA from Arunachal Pradesh. So how is their approach and our approach different? So what they try to do is that whenever people ask them questions about their performance, they resort to hyper-nationalism. Why are they not talking about jobs today? Why are they not talking about women's safety today?
Yeah.
Why are they not talking about farmers' income?
Yes.
Why did they fail to double the farmers' income in the last 5 years? In fact, the growth of the agriculture sector is at its lowest. And today they again say we will double the farmers' income.
Yeah.
You remember that there was a farmers' march from all over India which came to meet Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister refused to meet the farmers. They diluted the Land Acquisition Act, and so that they could give the land to their crony capitalist friends.
Okay.
They have resorted to ultimate corruption in the Rafale scam. They gave 30,000 crore rupees of deal to Anil Ambani, who formed a company just 14 days before they actually signed the Rafale deal. And they overrate the 70-year-old Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. How can they talk about nationalism and corruption?
Okay, Aman, please, let's ask Gopal that. Gopal, no mention of...
you can allow this kind of falsehoods?
Yes, Gopal, that's the question that the Congress spokesperson is asking. Is your idea of new...
answer every question on Rafale.
Yes, Gopal, I'm asking you a direct question, please. Is your idea of new India based only on national security and hiding concerns that came out of the note ban and GST?
No, Tanya, I tell you, we have said that there are 3 themes in our Sankalpat. First thing is the national security is our vision, and Antyodaya, Garibiyon ke Kalyan, benefit to the poor is our goal roadmap, and good governance is our roadmap. So you see combined, you are talking, when you are talking about nationalism, we will talk about nationalism. If you talk about Antyodaya, welfare of the common man, we have 75 steps where we will do good for the people, for the infrastructure, for the welfare of the common man. सबके सर पे छत होगी, सबका roads double हो जाएंगे, income दुगनी होगी, करेंगे. We will invest 100 lakh crores in infrastructure and agriculture. Everything is there for good economics, and good governance is also through which we have created ecosystems of technology. GST is our creation. It's a fait accomplished. There you will find that it's a better compliance with ease of doing business, no interference of subjectivity and running around by the common man to the every citizen to one pillar and post, like which earlier they used to do. So it is ease of doing business for the businessman. There is a better loan facility for the corporate, this middle MSME and small sectors. And this falsehood about we have created a very good banking system. It was Congress which within from 2006 to 2012, in a short period of 6 years, they increased the outstanding loan in the banking sector from 18 lakh to 52
to 9.2
lakh crores.
Globally, sir.
That was the amount in 6 years. How can you give just without only opening through phone banking? You could not have given loans, and it is the country is suffering from that problem. It is out of that 52 lakh crores of outstanding loan that we have now 12 lakh crores of NPA. We have not created NPA. We are solving the problem. We have solved it.
Okay.
We are providing it. We are recovering it.
Aman,
IBC, NCLT, Benami property, fugitive offenders. So this is all falsehood that they want to talk. On the Rafale
Aman, I want to come back to the point that we were making, and you know, the BJP in its manifesto has said that it will build political consensus on building the Ram temple and rolling out a uniform civil code and holding simultaneous state and central elections. Aman, my question to you is, where does your party stand on all these 3 issues?
See, as far as the Ram Mandir issue is concerned, BJP has been writing that in their manifesto ever since. They wrote it during Atal Bihari Vajpayee's regime. They wrote it in 2004, 9, 14 and 19 again. But the reality is they haven't moved an inch. And as far as this issue is concerned, Congress party is also all for resolving this issue, but not for fooling the people like the BJP is doing through its manifestos and not moving an inch on it. So on one hand, when the BJP can bring and say that we can bring an ordinance in the Sabrimala issue and we can resolve it, why did they not do it in the Ram Mandir case if they were so committed? The other issue that you spoke about was with respect to simultaneous elections. And let me tell you, simultaneous elections are not practically possible in this country. What if a government, which is a coalition government, falls midway, falls after 2.5, 3 years? Will you not hold elections? Will you keep that state under president's rule for 2.5, 3 years? And isn't that against the will and the democratic aspirations of the people of that particular state? So they are just trying to fool people by these big words and by these big promises. Whereas the reality is, on ground, they have completely failed to deliver. They have completely killed the medium and the small medium enterprises.
Right.
They have completely killed the economic growth. Okay. There are no businesses. There are no entrepreneurship that exists today.
Okay.
All of them has been killed either by GST or by
Okay, Aman, I think we got our answer. Jaggi, okay, I have
chose to keep
okay,
silent
please,
today.
can I, Aman, I'm sorry, I have time for just 2 questions now. It's only fair that I went to Jaggi and Swami. Jaggi, to you first. You know, in this manifesto, there are SOPs for traders, for MSMEs. There are dedicated paragraphs, as you said, on Sabrimala, on Ram Mandir, and of course, you know, zero tolerance on terrorism. Is the manifesto aimed more at just consolidating the party's core base than trying to maybe woo a new class of voters?
See, I think the party made a mistake, at least till the Gujarat election, the party was in a certain trajectory. After GST and they saw the kind of reaction they got from their core base, which includes the middle class and even the upper class, which cost them the Hindi belt states, which are worried about the SC/ST Atrocities Act, and there was the GST, there was a lot of heartburn among the trading community. So the Brahmin Baniya party, so to say, actually had a core base that actually expanded beyond this group, but the core had actually started withering, which we saw in Gujarat and in the 3 Hindi belt states. This was what the party had to make amends, because no party which loses its core can ever hope to generate enough enthusiasm among its cadre to fight the next election. That is why they did that 10% EWS reservations. That is why they brought in the last minute changes in this. Instead of the interim budget, it became almost a full budget, where they said they will give a income scheme for farmers. So all these things are, and of course in the current one, they talked about helping traders. A lot of trading communities will help with the composition scheme in the GST. So they have moved some way to assuage their core base. Now this base is now a little more happy, and the middle class is also happy that next year you do not have to pay tax up to 5 lakhs. So it's again, you have actually addressed all your core bases, and that core base is what the BJP is banking on to take the message that, look, we are good for the next 5 years. Please go and sell our story. So that's what they have done.
Swami, my last question to you, closing comments really. Do manifestos really matter to voters?
Hardly at all. I would say the vast majority of people be unaware of what manifestos. On the other hand, a manifesto is a launching pad for a new idea. This was the case of Rahul Gandhi saying, we are going to give 72,000 crores. We are going to give 72,000 rupees to every family of the bottom 20%. That need not have been linked with the manifesto. They chose to link it with the manifesto, and that is why, in some sense, manifestos begin to look important. Even there, I think if you look around at some of the reports that have come around, and many people ask, have you heard of Rahul Gandhi's scheme? Many people have not heard of it. So at the end of it all, I think public awareness of what manifestos say is low. Public interest in what manifestos say is extremely low. At the end of it all, a manifesto attempts to cover a huge amount of ground. A manifesto attempts to cover every possible vote bank that there is. But in an election campaign, ultimately, you have to focus on 1 or 2 ideas. You cannot range over 50 ideas, 100 ideas. So, okay, people come out with manifestos so that, they cannot be accused of neglecting this vote bank or that vote bank. They can say, nobody can accuse me of neglect. But at the end of it all, the manifesto per se does not matter very much to voters. I don't think it matters even very much to the political parties, because all kinds of things are promised which they know they cannot implement. It's part of the election campaign. It is part of the rhetoric of democracy. It has a place in it, but frankly, manifestos are not a very important part of it.
Right. With that, we're going to wrap it up on this edition of the India Development Debate. Swaminathan Iyer, R. Jagannathan, Aman Panwar and Gopal Krishna Agarwal. Gentlemen, thank you so much for sparing the time to chat with us here on ET Now.